Okay, hello again. So this should show the completion of the orchid model, starting from step 19 all the way to step 31. I have my previously completed one on hand for my own reference. So let's just get going. On step 20, a squash fold. So what you're going to do is, you have the model right here. You're going to open up this section, and you're going to squash down this triangle right here, trying to make it more or less symmetrical on either side. Just make that a nice fold. And then we're going to thin up these triangles. Just like this, fold edge to edge right here. And the other side. Now, these folds are hidden inside the model, so I'm not sure how critical they really are for the final aesthetic in terms of how even they are. I think you really just want this part to be thin, because that's going to be visible here in the final model. So it's not perfectly even on mine. You can see that some of the layers aren't quite lined up correctly. So I think that's space for improvement if you want to make it a really clean final look. This is what the fold looks like. So now in step 22, it's a little bit vague about what exactly it says. It's just an arrow saying to go that way. So what I've been doing is just folding these together like that. I think you can also tuck this underneath if you want it to hold a little better. I don't know if you saw that. But it's really not clear what specifically you want to do. You just want to end up back in here and repeat that same step on the other side. So with those steps repeated on the other side, we end up with this. Turn that over. And now we come to step 25. So now we're going to start doing a bunch of open sinks on this layer, or these layers here, which will allow us to create some leaves and petals later. So to start off, we're just going to take this first layer and fold the corner to the center, trying to make the fold line parallel to that center line. So it doesn't have to be super perfect, but just try to do your best. And then we're going to use this to make an open sink in this area. So the way that you do that is you're going to open the layers a little bit. We want to take this triangle here and push it inside the model. So you're going to create some tension in between the points, and just kind of try to turn that fold that we just made into a mountain fold on all sides. So, and just kind of push that center down. And these middle folds are all going to become valley folds. And once that happens, we'll be able to fold it back up, and that corner will be inside the model. So mountain folds on the outside, valley folds on the inside. Takes a little bit of practice to be able to do this neatly and reliably. We should end up with something like that, as compared to that. Okay, so I'll do that again on the other side. So first we create this fold, which is going to define the edges of the open sink. I'll just kind of try to make it match up to the other side. Now, I used to struggle with these a lot when I first started out, and one of the things that helped me get a lot better at them was practicing the model Andrea's Rose, which has a series of 4 open sinks at the beginning of it that are pretty challenging until you get the hang of it. So once I was able to get those done reliably, I found it much easier to tell what I was supposed to do when open sinks came up in other models. So mountain folds on the outside, valley folds on the inside, and you can just fold it all back together like so. Okay, so now we are looking at step 27. We're just going to fold over this middle section so that we can see this bit, and then we're going to do another open sink on this corner here. So we start off, we create the boundaries of the sink. So we're going to fold this corner to the center. Now this one doesn't want to be parallel to the center line. It doesn't look like there's any reference point, so just kind of use your judgment as to where exactly you want that to go. Maybe it does go all the way down to the corner. Make sure that's a nice strong line so you can see it through all the layers. And then again, we're going to open out the layers, take that fold we just made and turn it into a mountain fold on all 3 sides. Follow it all the way down. And the middle folds become valley folds, till you can just sort of fold it back up, just like that. Nope. Same thing on the other side. So we're going to fold this guy out of the way and then define the boundaries of our sink. Nice strong fold so you can see it through all the layers. And open the layers. It can be a little tricky depending on how many things are behind it. And turn that recent fold into a mountain fold on all 3 sides, and try to get the middle fold to be a valley fold. Mountain, mountain, mountain. That one too, and then it should just fold right back in, just like that. So I didn't quite get that symmetrically. Did I? It's not too bad. Basically, that first defining fold is going to determine how exactly these turn out. Okay, so now we're looking at step 31, and then we come to the pleating in step 32. So the pleats are actually pretty important, as they're going to help define the overall shape of the petals, your final product. So start off, fold this out of the way, and then there's going to be two different pleats. So a pleat is basically a mountain fold and a valley fold very close together. So the folds are going to converge on this point here. So we're going to define our first mountain fold about this corner to this corner. We already have one that's pretty okay for that. And then we're going to try to make a valley fold right alongside that line, but not parallel to it, because we need it to converge on that same point. So it'll be a little further away at the bottom, and then trying to make that fold a little closer to the top. So I think there's some matter of artistry and how far apart you want these folds to end up being. One way to do it is just kind of tuck the mountain fold we made over the next layer, and then just smooth it out the whole way up. Trying to make the space between the two folds more narrow towards the top. Okay, so that's okay. It's not so bad. So now you can see we've managed to tuck a little bit underneath on this side that we haven't done yet on that side. And then you're going to do the exact same thing. Again, where you place these is, I think, just a matter of how you want your final product to look. But I'll more or less bisect this remaining area here with a mountain fold. Trying to make sure I don't do that too close to the edge. Okay, so mountain fold. Make that a stronger fold. And then nice valley fold coming underneath it. So getting wider towards the bottom and try to make it closer and closer to that mountain fold as you get closer to the top. End up with something like that. So you can just play with the spacing of these folds depending on how you want these petals to look in the final product. You can kind of see how they end up coming out here, and this will just give you the layers that you want to mess with at the end for your shaping. So I'll repeat that on the other side, which I'll do off camera because it takes a while. And we end up with something like this. Now you'll notice here that ended up making this middle section much narrower on this side than on that side. And I've decided I don't really like that, so I'm going to try to make this side match that one. And basically the way to do that, since these sections are the same, is I'll leave my mountain fold more or less where it is, and I'll just tuck a little more paper underneath on that valley fold to start with, to try to make it look more like the other side. So I can actually, I've tucked under the other layer here, I can actually see how much paper there's there and try to match it on this side. Even tuck it under as well, make some room. And then by doing that, I can just redefine that space, define where that fold is, follow it again all the way to the top, and then we end up with something with a little more symmetry on either side. Okay, so this doing this on both sides, having it the way we like it, brings us to step 35. And then we start to get into the shaping sections. So this is dependent on these folds that we made earlier with all our sinks and stuff. So one of the leaves is made out of this section here. So what I've done is sort of opened up these layers, which creates this weird little loopy leaf that orchids have. So where that is right in here. So this part coming up, so you're going to give that a little bit of space to open, and then just pull these layers apart and sort of pinch them to give them that shape, and do that on both sides. You can keep playing with that until it's the way you want. And then this top flap also comes down and forms whatever this leaf petal thing is, which kind of comes down and curves up. You can kind of shape that just however you like. And you just keep messing around with these until they're to your liking. As well, there are these layers, which are going to be made into side leaves from a reverse fold. So what that looks like is you're going to take this valley fold here, and you're going to turn it into a mountain fold while bending outward. So what you do is you bend it here, and you give it a little bit of a pinch. And that gives you something to work with on that side. So the same thing here. Open it up a little bit, bend it outward, and give it a little bit of that pinch. And these will give you your basis for your side leaves. So again, what these end up looking like is very much up to you and what you want your final flower to look like. Probably some flowery reference points would be good to have at this point. I don't actually know offhand what this flower is exactly supposed to look like. Oh yeah, so besides these leaves, you also want to open up these pleats. Not exactly open them up, but just curve them, make them a little more organic looking. And you can just keep messing with these, getting the nice curves you want, and pulling these to where you like them until you get a product that you're happy with. So shaping, as might be evidence here, is not really my forte. I don't know if you might want to look into wet folding a little bit to get the nice curves that you want, as paper's not really keen to hold that while it's dry. But this is definitely the skeleton, or the basis of the final product. And you can just keep messing with it more and more until it looks something like what you want. So, hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.